Welcome to Raw and Uncut, our very first podcast from Bishop's Undi Junior College NNC Club. Today, we have a very special guest, our very own alumni magistrate, Mr. Arnab Sharma, a skilled writer, entrepreneur, innovator, and educator. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, Janita, for the invitation. Firstly, thank you for having me as the first guest on this podcast. And I think it's a very overwhelming and intimidating feeling to be back at Bishop's talking to the next generation of Bishopites who are a part of school, who will be a part of school. So thank you so much for having me here this afternoon.
Of course. Let's get straight into the heart of things. The first question for you today is what motivated you to write your book, Zero to Zero?
I think motivation is a very intrinsic word. There isn't any motivation to do any work. You have to be driven to do it. Okay? Because motivation's cheap, it will fade away. Uh, if you ask me the truth, I'll tell you that I wrote this book because I wanted to read it myself. Bishops has been very kind and inculcating a lot of good habits in me, including the likes of reading. So after I covered about 100, 150 odd titles, I realized that there is no one book which covers everything. A book which a commerce student can read, a science student can read, an art student can read, an engineer or even a doctor could perhaps. So after I covered titles on evolutionary biology, which includes Yuval Noah Harari, Max Bennett, books on technology, AI, business, marketing, sales, leadership, you name it, right? I realized that, okay, I think I want to read a book which has it. And I think the need for that was the fact that I was building my first startup. I wanted that one book which could tell me what to do and how to do more because I think strategy is cheap, execution is king. So you can always tell people what to do, but if you can't tell them how to do it, then you're not doing justice. So I thought that there was a book that was needed on this topic. I also thought I wanted to read it while I was building my own startup. And the final reason to write this book was, I think, this one wall at Stanford University inside the graduate school of business, which is one of the world's best business schools. The wall says, dedicated to the people who are dreaming to do things that have not been done yet. So, if Stanford can have an entire wall dedicated to your dreams, which only you are dreaming, I thought it would only be fair for me to not procrastinate anymore and go ahead and do it. So I think these factors combined made me write the first book.
It's amazing, sir. What was the writing process like from the spark of the idea to the final interview?
I think people think it's a very organized journey. It's seldom. It's a very messed up journey if you're starting anything, be it a new company, a new project, a new book. Anything at scratch will always be messy. So I started writing it in bits and pieces. I used to scramble notes on product, and I used to scramble notes on marketing, on GTM, and sales. I used to save a lot of content on Instagram, right? The premium side of Instagram is what you would say. And one day I realized that I got to combine all these notes because I could see a structure flowing through while my journey progressed, right? So started structuring these notes is what I would say. And one day the structured note ended up making me realize that okay, this could also be a book, a very good one for that matter. I think that's what people say. We were on the top 10 best selling on Amazon in the country. So it's not me. So we started writing it in bits and pieces. Those notes came along, the structure started flowing. I started putting in more rigorous effort into making this book happen. And I think writing a book teaches you one thing, that you cannot be attached to the outcome. Because you never know if the book will cross the finishing line, like most things in life do, right? So start writing it, you somehow cross the finish line, and then I realized that, oh, maybe 100 pages do not make a lot of sense. So I had to backspace 100 pages just so that the reader would enjoy.
Arnav, I read in your book that you have several interviews from important personalities. How did you achieve that state? Was it tough or did they welcome you with open arms?
So I think one thing I've seen about people, so people who, I mean, I ask for love this way. Elon Musk runs $1 trillion company. He has the time to reply to random tweets. He has the time to manage the board, the stock market, the employees, product innovation, and yet some people feel that they're too busy. So, what I've realized is that the successful and the ultra successful are, of course, differentiated by hard work, perseverance, even luck. But what truly differentiates is how responsive they are. They don't prolong things for tomorrow, right? So when I approached any of these senior leaders, and thank you everybody, they were very kind and very proactive in trying to get through with the interview as soon as they can. Like, there's no point delaying it tomorrow when we like the idea of the book. We should, and we want to contribute, we do it as soon as possible. So I think it wasn't hard. Everyone was very welcoming, very kind, very supportive and encouraging. And they were very responsive people. So I think it was a great learning experience to learn from one of these CEOs.
Arnav, from your journey, I've understood that your number one milestone was standing first in the Harvard conference amongst participants from about 45 different countries.
Mm-hmm.
How was that experience like?
It was a very overwhelming experience. I wasn't expecting to win. I wasn't expecting anything at all. I just went there thinking that I'm going to get some photos in Boston with the Harvard Business School board. And then I had a follow-on trip to New York. And okay, we'll see the Statue of Liberty. In fact, when I was in school in 9th standard in 2014 or 15, if I'm not mistaken, bishops used to take a group of students to America each year as a part of, the holistic education program or something like that. I just want to remember for a while. So we guys used to visit NASA, and we guys used to explore America. And that was like my first international trip. And it was my first trip with my friends, and it was my first international trip with friends. So when Howard said that, oh, you know what, you should come to Boston to the conference, I would say, okay, let's go to America, let's enjoy. Of course, there was a lot of hard work while I was preparing for case form, but I think I went there with the intention of learning and not winning per se. So when I think her name was Maya Hollins, she was the president of the conference. She said, "Oh, the winning team is our national." Like, are you sure? And she said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, thank you. I'm coming on stage then." So it was a great experience. I think there was nobody less deserving in that room. Every single person deserved to win. So more than the winning part, I think it was a great learning experience, the culture, the environment. But if you really ask me how did I do it, of course I'm happy.
This is why we call it raw and uncut over here.
Bill Gates once said, easy peasy, light and squeezy is going to doom the generation. So if you are not putting in depth to understand any topic of your choice, it could be evolutionary biology, it could be finance, it could be economics, it could be technology, product, marketing, sales. If you're not putting in depth to understand it, then you're not going to really be on the top of the line. There's a Shark Tank judge in America, I don't know her name, sorry. She said that a lot of youth reach out to her saying that, oh, Barbara, there's a lot of competition. What do I do on the competition? I want to be on the top. And she says, get the money out of the equation and pick one thing you are passionate about and practice the hell out of it. And if you're on the top, money will automatically follow. So people who ask you, what do you do in the competition? You read. Read as many books as you can. Superficial, surface level knowledge is going to doom you.
What are some books that you would suggest?
So really depends. Somebody who wants to understand the happening space of artificial intelligence, and I would say read The Coming Wave by Mustafa Suleiman. Somebody who wants to understand economics, I would say How Countries Go Broke by Ray Dalio. If you want to understand biology, any book by Yuval Noah Harari. If you want to understand all of this, then Zero to Zero by Arnav Sharma. So yeah.
Amazing. So nowadays we've heard a lot that social media के वजह से it's so easy for you. Your generation's gonna be just fine. There's so much peer pressure, unhealthy competition, and a lot of underestimating that's going on. Could you please tell us how to face it or how to deal with it?
This one line which I'll tell you People at the bottom are competing, people at the top are collaborating. So the ones who are competing, they're usually at the bottom because they are in survival mode. There's no competition on the top line. Everyone is pulling up everyone. I don't want to take names, but one of the CEOs of a Fortune 20 company, uh, who has been a very kind mentor to me, uh, he's always pulling up his competitors in the company. I mean, not business competitors, but people who are the next line of contenders for that seat. Because if you're collaborating, then you're winning. You know, as Mr. Tata said, not to be cliche, but if you want to go far, go together. So, and mostly it's not competition, it's noise. You think that coming first in class 10th boards or class 12 boards, or even in your college is going to guarantee you anything. It guarantees nothing except 2 days of fame on Instagram and LinkedIn. So there is no competition. If you want to be at the top, learn to collaborate. Be honest with your relationships, not just romantic ones, but any kind of relationship you share with any individual. So you gotta not look at the competition. If you're looking at the competition, then you're already too low on the ladder.
What would you suggest for someone who's trying to acquire as many skill sets as you? And could you share how you acquired so many skill sets?
No, you don't acquire a lot of skill sets. As I said before, you acquire one or two skill sets and you really work on them. So I knew I wanted to understand how creative thinking works, followed by analytics and how can you manage people. Because, see, as and when artificial intelligence and these NLM tools like GPT and Gemini and Copilot are going to go up, human intelligence is going to go down. What I'm trying to say here is that if you understand how the journey is happening, how the architecture, the backend is working, right, you will be good to go. Now, to elaborate on that point, uh, as and when artificial intelligence as a tool will go up, naturally human intelligence will go down because people are not understanding the process. They're only understanding the destination. You know, I am not here on this podcast because there's a book by my name. I'm here on this podcast because I wrote that book. The long journey of writing a book is what I think invites me here. So, if you are only focused on the destination and not the journey, you can acquire as many skills as you want. You can learn back end, front end, economics. You can learn everything because you're not learning anything. You're just prompting it to ChatGPT. So my advice is, you don't learn a lot of skills. Don't try to be a jack of all trades and master of none. Learn one thing, or two things, or three things, and preferably something that will not be very common once artificial intelligence and machine learning rises. And you'll be good to go because tomorrow, when everyone's focused on the destination, no one's focused on human creativity anymore. People have forgotten how to write an email because everything is ChatGPT. My email लिख देगा, and it actually says my email ले रखा आपने ये भाई नहीं, write something concrete. I can't tell my boss भाई. You get the point. So focus on things which are human in nature: people management, leadership, creative thinking, analytics. And again, to learn this, you read. So, yeah.
This is eye-opening, sir. Arnav, on an informal note, कौन सा genre करना चाहोगे आप?
Oh, I love leadership and human psychology. I like how the people on the top line think, and I like to understand why they think like that. Because tomorrow, as I said, thinking is going to be a unique skill. It doesn't sound like that, but it will be. And just reading a research paper, it's still under beta, so I'm not going to quote it. It says that our grandfathers are going to be more logical than the next set of generations that's going to be born. So talking about the children who are not yet even born. And that's shocking because you're talking about your grandparents being more logical than them because they do not have access to anything except a newspaper. It's scary. So I think human intelligence is going down.
Now, we'll move on to our next segment, school days. Here, we'll ask you questions about your school days and you respond very honestly.
Okay.
What was one subject that you always hated?
Chemistry, no doubt.
If you could relive one day in school, which one would it be?
Sports day.
Your most ridiculous excuse to skip homework.
Ma'am, you didn't tell the homework yesterday, so we all haven't done.
And
Unity is done.
which teacher did you do it with most?
I don't want to take names, but my history teacher, sorry. I promise I didn't tell you.
Uh, Tell us what your favorite item in the canteen was.
Oh, the sabudana vada. For my batchmates, the vada pav, please don't beat me up outside school. Yeah.
Would you please share a funny or an embarrassing incident from school?
Oh yeah, sitting on the first bench. I've mostly been a first bench all my life. There was bio lecture, and there was a teacher named Mr. Sadok back in the time, and I was sipping water. He was a little strict. Which teachers I think should be in certain subs because it inculcates discipline, and he was like really not in the zone. So because the next period was a PT period, so we are deciding on which teams should we play. Goalkeeper कौन बनेगा, striker कौन बनेगा. So sitting on the first bench, and he said, "Do you know what this means?" I said, "Yes, it means this." And there was water all over the uniform, and everyone was like, I'm like, ठीक है यार, मतलब खराब नहीं हुआ है, chill है. Yeah, it was very embarrassing because everyone in the school got to know about it. And the keyboard of the uniform was quite. Thank you, Bishops, for not charging me. I appreciate it. But yeah, that was one of the most funniest things.
So, as we all know, everybody in school gets punished. Even I wasn't spared. And as a creative head, what's the most creative thing you've done after getting punished?
Okay. It's too funny, I'm sorry. There were 7, 8 of us. We got punished. And in our times, punishments were very simple. Please get out of the class. Okay. So we got out of the class. And we guys were talking outside the class. And mom was like, "Close the door, man. These guys are talking." So she closed the door. And one of my friends, he's still a good friend. I'm not going to tell him, take his name. He said, "Bro, I'm like, huh? Like 10th week, it's playing basketball." And we all looked at each other and we smirked and we were like, we left the punishment, we joined them on the basketball court, and we guys started playing basketball. Period khatam hua. We guys didn't come back because they had, I think, an activity period or something, and they continued playing. We also continued playing. So we had another lecture, which unknowingly got skipped, but I think we had a good time. That was a, and we won the match 10-8.
That's totally what matters.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we have the new segment. It's a very interesting game that we like to call Reflex,
Okay.
wherein I say a word and you say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay, that's good.
Let's start. School,
Love,
friends,
happiness,
book,
0 to failure,
red,
bright,
study,
boring,
favorite,
Chinese.
food,
Yeah, chili paneer,
home,
peace,
visa.
success.
Thank you so much, sir Arnav, for coming here and inspiring us all. I'm sure that all of your viewers will truly appreciate what you've given us today. From Bishops, we wish you years of success. Thank you so much. Would you like to end with a valuable quote?
Yeah. Firstly, thank you so much for having me here once again. And my parents would be very proud hearing that people are proud of me and they would value my, typical parents. One quote you asked me, right, would be two actually. One would be, I think, delusional optimists will change the world. People who have the ability to bend reality with a lot of technical. You have to be delusional about your dreams and you have to make them a reality by working very hard. And the last quote would be trust God. I think He has a plan for everyone. He has a plan for you as well. So trust the process, trust nature, God, karma, whatever you do, things will fall into place. Not now, then tomorrow, not tomorrow, then 6 months later. But they usually fall into place and things do work out. So I think these two things.
Such inspiring words. And to you, our viewers, Come back soon for another separate episode of Go Anand. First episode of Go Anand.
कहाँ से था जो जो यू क्रिएटेड अ स्प्लिट ना, और जो हो गया वो पीछे डाल दिया। हाँ ठीक है, तो सॉरी। या
Okay.